It's currently 27 degrees here, so this seems a little strange to be doing a video about winter van life in this kind of temperature where I'm sweating. But I think it's important to start thinking about this topic as we wander and mosey on into winter. I think some winters in Nomad life I've tended to be like, well, I don't want summer to end, I especially don't want autumn to go away. And then all of a sudden it creeps up on you and you're in full-blown winter, and it's pretty cold out there, and some nights you get into -6 degrees. So let's have a look at this, shall we? Explore the topic, have a look at what we need to think about heading into winter, some of the important points that I picked up on my nomadic experience, and bring in some insights from other people as well. And if you have any comments on this topic, you've survived your first, second, 100th winter in van life, please feel free to contribute in the comments. So I think number one on the list for me is to get your house in order. So get your house in wheels in order. Make sure that your needs in terms of comfort are satisfied and you're happy with them. This took me a little while to figure out what configuration worked for me, what I exactly needed to be comfortable and vibrant in winter life. I've got to say, for me, a 4-season sleeping bag was a game changer. So instead of all the bedding and quilts and all the rest of it, I have a couple of blankets, but underneath that is my 4-season sleeping bag. And last winter it was a revelation. So you basically strip off fully, you get into the sleeping bag, and it's your own body heat that is keeping you warm and comfortable all through the very, very cold evenings. That worked. Sometimes before that, when I was out camping and doing different experiences, I'd sometimes leave a jumper on just to, I don't know, my mind wanted some kind of crutch that said, oh, you got your jumper on so you'll be warm. But actually that goes against the psychology of a good sleeping bag and to get your body working for you during the evening. So that was a great thing to learn, and what I picked up in my experience, and I said the sleeping bag, total game changer for me, very, very comfortable. In terms of heating, I'm not one that particularly goes in for heating when I'm in the car and I'm moving around from spot to spot. When I'm stationary, maybe I'll go to a campsite and then hook up, and I've got a little cube heater that I can use on occasion. And if I'm stationary in a place for a long time or a longer period of time, then you can just hook that up and you've got heat blowing in, and that's not too much of a problem whatsoever. When you're more nomadic and mobile and you're out and you're exploring, having heat tends to come in the form of diesel heaters. A lot of nomads are very religious about those. They enjoy the heating through the diesel heaters. Some of them are inbuilt, some of them you can bring in and you can have as a portable type heater. Always be very, very careful with these. Get yourself a carbon monoxide alarm so there's no accidents. We want to keep you safe out there. Get your heating needs sorted out as a first priority, and then think about the overall space and how you're going to use that in the nomad experience in your everyday life. What you need to hand. Do you need to be getting outside of the vehicle at any point? Again, can you get these interactions quite fluid, and so you're not outside in the cold temperatures more than you need to be. It's hot today, 27 degrees. I'm going to take some time in the shade. So yeah, the heaters are very good, and the generators that go along with them are something else. If you remember Roger, we had a great conversation with Roger on one of the Nomad stories, and I happened to be parked next to him at Mam Tor in the Peak District, and he had his generator on in the morning, so that was a great alarm clock for me. Love it. But the name of the game is to keep yourself warm and to satisfy your heating needs, and that's all that matters really. Another great thing I tend to do in the mornings is just have the morning routine set in stone somewhat, especially when it gets really cold at the height of winter. Make sure you've got your breakfast routine sorted out. You know what you're doing in the morning. Get your cup of tea on. Bring some good energy to the morning before you start your day. I find is really important to do. And again, if it's especially cold, maybe find some places that are a little bit warmer than your van. Although saying that, if you've got your diesel heater in there, you can get really, really warm Um, so that's quite good actually. Without heating, if you don't have any heating in your vehicle, I tend to hit up spaces like libraries, do some work, coffee shops, so I'm getting some heat and I'm also doing something useful, productive as well. Clothing's another important thing to think about. So I have a summer bag and I have a winter bag, and I just exchange them in the vehicle, so just to keep things nice and light and minimalistic in the actual space that I'm using every day. So making sure you got lots of jumpers, lots of trousers, all that kind of good stuff, the winter socks, the nice hat, which you know my hat, I'll be bringing that out soon, but not too soon. Usually we start that around November time, which is good. If you see it before then, it's getting pretty cold beforehand. Yeah, but November to April I've got my woolly hats on and all of that going on, keeping nice and warm. One other thing to mention is about activity during winter. Obviously the daylight becomes a problem because, you know, we like to be getting out and doing exercise and doing some walking, going to some nice places, doing all that nice stuff you do maybe in the spring, summer and autumn. But winter, when it's going dark at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it can be quite limited. I know some people, they don't let the darkness stop them. They just get a torch and they carry on doing their stuff. Head torches, so you can go on night runs, you've got stargazing to think about. There's a range of activities you can do. I know Pippa was great on the night hikes and the jogging in the evenings, and all of those activities don't necessarily need to stop because it's winter time. It's just you adapt and you create a new way and a new configuration to achieve those things. Then it's just flipping up some of your routine as well. So I go from a lot of time outdoors exploring and doing my exercise and activities, and I do a lot of meditation outside by rivers and in gorges and all that kind of thing in the summer. In winter time, not so many options after it goes dark, so I tend to get a short-term gym membership and go and hit the gym, go into the spa, use the facilities, do some classes, meet some new people, and that worked really well last year. I might bring that back this year as well because it was a good thing to do. So it's just flipping things around, making use of the facilities and resources you have around you, and it's taken me down some paths that, you know, I've been to quite a few towns and I have some strongholds in different places, but I think you get to know different aspects of a town when you're using the facilities. You get more involved in community life as well, which is helpful, especially in winter time. Just being more social is really important, as it is across all seasons, but I think even more so in winter time when a lot of people are confined to their spaces, their houses, because again there seems to be in our minds limited options available, but actually there's still plenty of options available to get yourself out and about and doing things. Now, to be honest, I think words are very powerful and they cast spells. And I remember distinctly a conversation I had with my friend where I was actually talking down winter. I was like, oh no, winter's here, oh no. And I caught myself doing it a couple of times. I'm like, why are you doing that? Yeah, it's going to be cold. Yeah, it's good. We know these things. We've had lots of winters. So I think the other big powerful thing that I've applied in my life is to change my mindset about winter. And I've actually spoken to people who prefer winter to summer, just to understand what's going on in their heads, because I think it's very useful to have as a nomad. If you're approaching winter, it feels good. So, you know, start very practically. Think of all the things you like about winter, you know, write a list down and get excited about those things, to experience those things. One of the things I like is winter photography. So walking in a winter wonderland and taking some pictures where there's snow or ice, or, you know, the elements are doing their thing, I think it's beautiful and spectacular. So that's some of the things I look forward to. Sitting in front of a fireplace, having hot chocolates, you know, going on winter hikes that are a little bit more challenging perhaps. What else do I like? You know, even cozy days at the library doing some work with a brew. Going to different types of library within the area. You know, that kind of thing. And then actually when you get a chance to maybe go out and have a little retreat for yourself during winter, maybe treat yourself to a hotel for the night or do something different, just add some things to your diary and your schedule that really allows you to tap into that gratitude and that appreciation of all that winter does and brings to us. And again, you know, from December it gets quite festive, so there's always lots of things going on. So there's a lot to look forward to, but sometimes we just have to flip our mindset. If we're not particularly set up for winter in terms of our psychology, it might not be the best experience for us. I've learned that the hard way. Although saying that, I'm going to be kind to myself here, in that initial trepidation about oncoming winter very, very quickly subsided into something that was actually quite enjoyable. I think you could tell I'm a kind of reflective type of guy. I like to reflect on things. I like to deeply explore topics. I like to go into deep meditation. And I've especially embraced meditation this summer and go deeper into that particular area of life. I think winter naturally brings around a time for peace, for reflection. It gives you a lot more time to consider things. So I intend to keep going deeper into meditation through winter. And meditation is a wonderful thing about, you know, it brings about presence, and you can actually get yourself to a really nice space internally. So actually turn on your central heating inside you through meditation. So another great benefit, and that's been explored in the scientific community, about how people can bring heat and warmth to their bodies during the most freezing conditions. And alongside that comes a lot of breath work, which I've been doing for about 3 years now. Something akin to the Wim Hof method, or what we find in yoga circles. But again, really beneficial to learn some breathing exercises that enable you to go wild swimming in winter, which I do, and to adjust and adapt and enjoy the cold and experience it, feel it in your bones, feel it in your body, and then you know, just embrace those sensations, and then learn to influence them to become warmer in even cold environments. If you want an example of that, there's no better arena of experimentation than wild swimming during winter. If you can get yourself from a place of I am not doing that to I'm looking forward to that, you'll start to understand the power of controlled breathing exercises and its influence and impact inside your body, mind, and on your spirit as well. So I've done that lots of times, going swimming in the lakes during, like freezing lakes during the winter, and it's been a really intense and enjoyable experience. A few years ago, I never would have even thought about that. So again, nomadic life has opened up other opportunities that we don't necessarily predict when we embark on the experience. Now, some of you will be sat there thinking, nah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing van life in the winter. I'm not doing breath work. I'm not doing meditation. I'm not doing sleeping bags. I'm not doing a diesel heater made in China or anywhere else. I'm just not doing that. So what do those people do? Well, they often take themselves off to sunnier climates, and it's as simple as that. You know, if you can, and you have the luxury of time where you can take yourself off to a different climate for the winter, all power to you, and good luck and enjoy the experience. So that is an option for a lot of people. Sometimes people have doubts about doing that, or then they forget about it. If you can, then maybe you should have a look at that. As for me, I'll be enjoying and embracing the UK winter again this year. Yet there is something within that I wanted to share, which is the power of comparison and contrast. I have some nomadic friends who do winters in Alaska and other places of more extreme climate, shall we say. Now, according to them, the winters in the UK are very, very mild and timid. They describe them like it's the Caribbean. So it's that realization that it's actually quite helpful. The UK winters aren't so bad. We have a few nights every winter of extreme kind of -6, but that's not extreme compared to -27, -28 and upwards in other locations around the world. So we still have it pretty good in the UK, and that's probably the power of contrasting someone else's experience and sharing with others and learning from others. You get to appreciate what you have instead of underappreciating the situation and context you're in. Now, it's saying that when I arrived in Australia I think I was there for about a year earlier on in my life, and I arrived in Sydney. I think it was out of peak summer season. I think it might have been like spring or autumn that season, I can't remember now. But I arrived, and one of my good friends at the time, he met me on one of the bridges there in Sydney, and I remember his face, and I remember taking a picture of him because the sun was shining. I was in t-shirts and shorts, but I turned up on the bridge to meet him, and he was wearing jeans, top, jumper, coat, and a balaclava on his head. I was like, okay, I must be typically English, because I was like, this is a good summer's day for us. But to him, it was, you know, prime time winter, and he was really feeling the cold. I was feeling the warmth. So there's something in there about our mindsets when we approach these things. I was having a great day, great summer's day in Australia, but he was having a very unpleasant winter's day. Contrast principle. Another big thing to keep reminding yourself during the winter, I don't know what that was. Another thing to keep reminding yourself during winter is why you're actually a nomad in the first place. Why you're living this way. What is it that you are getting from it? What's in it for you? Because within those answers you'll find reasons to keep you really motivated to enjoy winter and at least survive it, if not thrive during the season. And that comes back to some real fundamental things that we need to keep close at all times, not just through winter. The great thing about nomad life is we can start from where we are with what we've got. And what we've all got is a great mind that is sometimes underutilized because we're so narrow in our thinking and focus. If we can start to expand our horizons within our own minds, then we can create a life of unlimited potential. And I absolutely mean that. I believe in that. I have faith in that. We can do that. It's just sometimes we think ourselves into a very limited experience on planet Earth. You know we do. You know, we know I do sometimes as well. You get linear thinking about things. You can't change my mind, that's it. I know best. But actually I don't know anything. And the more you experience nomad life, the more you realise that we literally know nothing. There are so many things that are outside our conscious awareness, outside the scope and realm of our senses, that it would be a fool's errand to think that we know anything about this universe, really. Science is always changing, the facts are always changing about certain things. What do you do within that? We have to create and define what is right for us and our being, and what resonates deeply within our soul. What's our truth? You're not given at birth a purpose on this earth. You're not told this is what you're here to do. So the beauty of it is we have to figure that out for ourselves, and that's part of the game, that's part of the experience, that's part of the journey and adventure on this planet. What is our purpose? It's a fundamental question. It's the why of our existence, the very fabric of our being. We know when we find our why because we feel the energetic volcano erupt within us. So I would encourage you to spend some time thinking about what is your purpose, what is your why, your reason for being, what really brings you to life from within. That's a good indicator you're on the right path. So many distractions around us take us away from that, and a lot of people never find it. And if you believe in reincarnation or other things, maybe they'll be coming back again to try this level. But it is possible. We can find our purpose. We just have to go inside and ask ourselves some deep questions. The other thing that we need to really pay a lot of attention to is our mission on this planet. What are we here to actually do, change, inspire? What is it that excites us and can unify our actions and behaviors to create something in this world for ourselves, for our family, for our community, for our countries? What is the mission that defines our existence? If we know our purpose, we can unify everything we are into a really strong mission. But then the other thing to consider as part of this foundational building up of the freedom of mind is your values. What do you value in this life? What do you stand for? What are your principles? Because they are really important in embracing freedom. Because if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything, literally. We won't know, what day it is. We'll be confused. We have our own moral compass, we have our own ethics, we have our own standards, we have our own expectations, and these things will be our guide in life. We know the difference between right and wrong. We know what civility looks like. We know what compassion looks like. We know these things to be true because we feel good when we experience them. We know what kindness looks like. We know what it feels like. We know what generosity feels like. All these things are designed, and when you feel yourself responding to these things, that's a good indication that we're on the right path. If being kind really brings joy to your existence, well, that's a really good indicator that we need to be kind. It's really simple. It's really simple. Giving more than taking is great for the human spirit. It's also great for our health and everything else that goes on around us. That's kind of like a cheat code, isn't it? If we can help others, help others. It's kind of selfish in a way because we get more as the giver than the receiver. We have this absolute rush of chemicals within our bodies that says we're doing something really good and really enjoyable and something that's right. That's worth encouraging in this world. It's worth encouraging. So those are the few things I would say when you're thinking about your freedom of mind, because we'll talk about freedom of movement in a later video. But freedom of mind is a really important thing to consider as part of your life design, as part of your nomadic experience. Because the freer our minds are, the more we can interact with the world and accept things as they are, and accept what comes into our reality. Right, I'm getting pretty cold out here now, but I just wanted to share some thoughts on that with you. And I think it's time for another cup of tea. See you next time. I think it's good to put some thought into this earlier, rather than find yourself in the winter conditions and then you're having to find solutions to things that could have been preempted or pre-planned for. That's sometimes what caught me out before, where I just didn't think about a thing. Sometimes you have to have the experience first, the lesson afterwards, which I'm fully open to. But we don't want to just survive in winter, we want to thrive. So I would say just get it prepared now, get your thinking done, and then you can all upfront that, and then you can just enter it, have a peaceful, enjoyable entry into the winter conditions, because you've done all this preparation beforehand, which isn't so much preparation. It's just getting your head in the right space, your house in the right space, getting yourself to a level of comfort where you can enjoy the experience of wintertime. So I'll leave you with that this time. I'm going to carry on my hike and make use of this 27-degree weather as I reflect back on the winter conditions we have to look forward to. And I'm looking forward to it. But for today, I'm going to enjoy the summer conditions. See you next time.